Hello and welcome back to BS Rugby, and it's that time of week once again as we look forward to week 4 of the URC. We've had 3 fantastic rounds already, and as usual on a Thursday night we're going to go through each of the games, look at the teams and have a look and see who we think is going to come out on top. As always, if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. It's free to do and helps grow the channel. Leave a like on the video as well and get your predictions in the comments down below for your chance to feature on Sunday night's review show. This week, we have a special guest, Dan McFarlane from the fantastic Facebook group Stuck in the Scrum. There'll be a link down below. Do go and check it out. He is also going to give his predictions in this week's video. Without further ado, let's take a quick look at the fixtures that we have coming up this weekend, with the Dragons who host Stormers, Ulster host Emirates Lions, Zebre host Glasgow, Benetton host Ospreys, Vodacom Bulls travel up to Edinburgh, while Leinster welcome the Scarlets, Cardiff Rugby welcome the Sharks, and we have an Irish derby to finish off the weekend as Munster take on Connacht. The first game then, let's talk about it. Dragons playing the Stormers. What a game this is going to be. Dragons got their first win of the season last week as they beat Connacht away, 22 points to 35, and their first win away there since 2004. So a very good result for them. While the Stormers got a first result of the season for themselves, but it wasn't quite the win. They got a draw away at Edinburgh, 20 points each. Both teams have been announced. Big news for the Dragons as Ross Moriarty returns after injury and he captains the side. Let's take a look at this Dragons side now. So starting with the backs then. Jordan Williams plays at fullback with Jonah Holmes and Jordan Oluwafela on the wings. And Nathan Owen and Jack Dixon play in the centre, with Sam Davis and Gonzalo Bertrand playing at 9 and 10. In the front row then, Greg Bateman plays alongside Elliot D and Mesakea Dodge. Will Rowland's partners Ben Carter in the locks, and the back row then is Ross Moriarty, Tane Basham and Aaron Wainwright. The Stormers have also announced their team. Let's go through it now. Starting with the fullback then, Warwick Gallant plays at fullback with Lino Sass and Edwil van der Merwe on the wings. Ruan Nell and Dan Duplessis play in the centres. Then at 10 we have Manny Libok alongside Stefan Unguera. In the front row then we have Brock Harris, Scaran Nturbeni, Neithling Fuch. In the locks we have Ernst van Ryn, Salman Moret, and the back row then is Junior Pocamella, Willie Engelbrecht, Evan Roos as well. And as you can see, your bench there. So how do I see this one going? I think it's going to be a fascinating game as the Dragons got a really good win. The Stormers got their first points on the board. And I think it's a big opportunity for both sides to get a win under their belts. For the Dragons, it would be their second, obviously. And for the Stormers, it would be their first. But I am going to back the home side to win. I was very impressed with them away at Connacht. Their discipline was fantastic. Their tackle success rate was one of the highest over the weekends. And I think their defence and that control that Sam Davis has at 10, I think they're going to win the game. But what does our guest Dan have to say about this game? Let's hear from him now.
It's really, this is going to be really, really high. Out of all the fixtures this weekend, this may be one of the tightest ones, but no, I'm going to have the Stormers by about 3.
The second game on the Friday night then sees Ulster take on the Emirates Lions. Last week, Ulster got a win against Benetton, 28 points to 8. That means 3 wins to start off their campaign. The Emirates Lions lost up in Scotland, this time against Glasgow Warriors, losing this one 13 points to 9. They haven't won since the opening day when they beat Zebre. How do I see this one going? Well, it's going to be a fascinating game, isn't it? But before we get into my predictions, let's have a quick look at the teams. Ulster have announced their side. Will Addison plays at fullback, Craig Kilroy and Ethan McElroy play on the wings, with James Hume and Stuart Moore in the centres. Billy Burns plays at 10 alongside Nathan Doak at 9. Of course, Cooney is still injured. In the front row then, Andrew Warwick, Rob Herring and Tom O'Toole. Alan O'Connor and Sam Carter playing the locks, with Matty Reid, Nick Timoney and David McCann completing the back row. The Lions also have announced their team. Let's go through it now. We'll take a look at it here for you. Viljoen plays at fullback with Rabs McSwane and Steen Pina in the wingers. Birger Odendahl captains the team in the centre alongside Manuel Ras. While in the front row, we have Steve Stitol, Jakob Visage and Carlos Saidi, Ruben Schumann, Rinad and Nothnagel play in the locks, Sibusiso Sangweni, Vincent Shitukura, Ruan Stroley play in the back row. And in your bottom left, you can see the bench. So this could be a fascinating game, isn't it? Ulster are the form team, Emirates Lions potentially not the form team. And for me, this is going to be quite a simple victory for Ulster. I'm expecting a 20-point plus game. I just don't think the Lions are at the level of this Ulster team, and I think they've been one of the weaker teams in this year's competition. But what does Dan have to say about this game? Let's find out his thoughts.
I've said Ulster looking really, really strong this season. I wouldn't have tipped them at the start of the league, but if there's one of the teams in the league that are going to, really push Leinster all the way this year, it's Ulster's definitely up there. I see them right to the end. They've been on fire, really. I would have, Ulster easily by 12 at least.
The first game on the Saturday then sees Zebre host Glasgow Warriors. Zebre last week lost against Leinster quite convincingly in the end. Well, as we just mentioned, Glasgow got their win against the Lions, winning that one 13 points to 9. Of course, as both teams are in this competition, have been for a while, they did face each other last season, with Zebre losing at home 20 points to 31. Now, I've got to say, I have been bitterly disappointed with Zebre once again this year. Benetton seems to have kicked on and have seemed to have developed and become a decent side and a competitive team. We're not seeing anything like that from Zebre. They are just not at the level required to be competitive in this league. Glasgow, very, very impressive over the last couple of weeks. Really like the look of Ross Thompson at 10. I think he's absolutely brilliant and a real future star for Scottish rugby and for Glasgow. And as we have a Scotsman in the building doing the predictions, surely he's going to back Glasgow to win this one. Let's hear what Dan's got to say.
Yeah, they've looked a lot better than what I thought they were going to be. I expected Glasgow to be in a bit of a transition this year, because I think the amount of players they had leave last season and come in, I didn't expect them to click as quickly as they did. Like Rory Darge, especially for me, I think I see him breaking into the Scotland squad for the upcoming internationals. Zebre, unfortunately, I can't see them challenging many teams in the division this year. I'm going to go for quite a strong Glasgow win.
The second game on the Saturday features Benetton against Ospreys. Benetton last week lost for the first time in this year's competition, losing against Ulster, while the Ospreys were absolutely terrible. And as an Ospreys fan, I can happily say this. We were shambolic as we lost against the Sea Sharks for our first loss of the campaign. Of course, as both teams are in the competition and have been for a while, they faced each other last season. A narrow victory for the Ospreys. Down at Neath, it was Ospreys winning 24 points to 22. And my feelings as an Ospreys fan, I think this is going to be a really, really tight game. Benetton are very competitive, having won the Rainbow Cup and started their campaign with 2 wins on the bounce, and they're being fairly competitive across them all. For Ospreys, we've been up and down. We sometimes lack that little bit of creativity that we need. Sometimes we're a little bit stagnant, I find. But I'm hoping that this week things will click back into gear. But we'll have to be so much better than we were against the Sharks. Otherwise, we will lose this. I think Benetton being at home is going to help them. But I am going to back my boys. I'm going to back the Ospreys to win this one by 3 to 5 points. Let's find out. What does Dan think? Is Dan going to agree with the Ospreys fan? Let's find out.
Both sides, again, have come through stronger. Benetton look to have a lot of grit. They went from, last season, like not really winning a single game to then winning the Rainbow Cup, and then beating Edinburgh with a drop goal in the 85th minute. Sorry to disappoint you, but I think that I'd probably give it to Benetton, but by about 3.
First Saturday tea time kickoff sees Edinburgh host the Bulls. Edinburgh last week, they got a draw against the Stormers, 20 points each in that one, while the Bulls got their first win of the season, beating Cardiff Rugby at the Arms Park and beating them fairly comfortably, it must be said. And I was very impressed by the Bulls' physicality last week. That was something that you associate with South African teams, don't you? Their physicality, their ability to get the driving maul going, to win that physical battle. And that's something they certainly managed to do. While Edinburgh, the likes of Ben Vellacott, what a signing he's been, the scrum half. Ridiculously pacey, taps and goes all the time, always looking to play on the front foot. It's going to try in every game they've played already. And then Darcy Graham finding some form. Is that what Edinburgh need to get around this physicality of the Bulls? Because I feel if you try and go match them as the Lions, the British and Irish Lions found out in the summer against these South African teams, it just doesn't work. And so I think that's how Edinburgh needs to approach the game. Throw the ball a little bit about.
Team in transition. Vellacott looks really, really good since coming from Wasps. Darcy Graham seems to just rekindled some amazing form. And he's scoring for fun. Well, both of them are scoring for fun, really. I think Edinburgh had a good win against the Scarlets. They lost at the last second against Benetton. I think they're not clinical enough, Edinburgh, for Edinburgh by about 12.
The second tea time kickoff on the Saturday sees Leinster welcome Scarlets. Leinster unbeaten so far in this competition, having won last week comprehensively against Zebre, 43 points to 7, while Scarlets were absolutely battered at home by Munster, 13 points to 43, and we'll get on to Munster later, but Munster were incredible that day. And of course, as both teams are in the competition and have been for a while, they faced each other last season. This game saw a comprehensive, once again, win for Leinster, but a very high-scoring game as Leinster travelled to the Parker Scarlets and won that one, 52 points to 25. And to me, looking at the Scarlets, being a Welshman, there's too many sloppy mistakes in there. They throw away games, especially the one against Edinburgh on the opening day of the weekend. Mistakes at the breakdown, mistakes at the maul, knock-ons, ill discipline, not lack of communication, just very simple things. And yet, Dwayne Peel is at the helm. Things need to gel. He's a new coach come in. He'll have different ideas. He'll have a different way that he wants to play rugby. So it's going to take time. While Leinster are very settled under Leo Cullen, have such depth in that squad and are so used to just working together, and they do the simple things very, very well, which gives them the platform for their exciting backs to really do some damage. For me, it is a simple win for Leinster. I think they'll get the bonus point, and I wouldn't be surprised if they run away with it a little bit. But we'll find out. But what does Dan have to say about this game? Is he in agreement with me? Let's find out.
With the Scarlets, I watched the game against Munster. I wanted them to do quite well. I've always had a soft spot for them. I think I might be asking to get kicked off your channel at this rate. But I don't know what's happened. I mean, I watched them against Edinburgh. I watched them against Munster, and they don't seem to be there right now. And Leinster are just so far in front of almost anybody else. I don't think they'll lose as much as they did to Munster. I think the Scarlets focus a lot on the defence from last week, but I am going to say Leinster by about 20.
2 games to go then. First of all, Cardiff Rugby take on the Sharks down at the Cardiff Arms Park. Yes, an Ospreys fan is wearing a Cardiff Rugby top. Who would have thought of it? Last week, it was not a good week for Cardiff as they lost against the Bulls 19 points to 29. That's 2 losses now on the bounce in this year's competition, while the Sharks got their first win of the season against the Ospreys, winning that one 27 points to 13 down at the Swansea.com stadium. Now, the big news for Cardiff Rugby, once again, Jared Evans is still missing with that injury, but Rhys Priestland called up to the Wales squad. Hopefully, that'll give him a big confidence boost. And you look at the Cardiff back line, and it's such an exciting back line. I really like the look of the likes of Halaholo, Ray Lilo, Halamamos, Priestland, Thomas Williams at 9, but it's in the front at the pack. Can they get that strength to get going? Can they get the platform to play? For the Sharks, really impressed with them last week, but you'd have to say probably more of the Ospreys being poor. And I expect Cardiff to get back to winning ways this weekend under Dai Young. He spoke in the week about things coming together, looking to sign some players. His son, of course, Thomas Young, has signed ahead for next season. So hopefully the Cardiff Rugby will feel a little bit of a boost for that. But I am going to back Cardiff Rugby to win this one. I'm going to back them to win it by 10+ points.
Cardiff are a team that I do expect to take 1 or 2 scalps this season, but I just don't think they're going to do it consistently enough. They've been very up and down. I mean, we're only 3 games in. It's probably a bit too early to say, but I think in lower mid-table for Cardiff this year. They play very South African. It's very, big man, hit the line hard. Beef smash the barbarian type rugby.
Yeah.
No, I think that they play very South African. The only downside I have to, I don't think they're used to playing in Northern Hemisphere conditions. Yeah, Chelsea Sharks by 9 points.
Final game then of the weekend treats us to an Irish derby. Munster host Connacht at Thomond Park at a 25-8 kickoff at local time. Munster, of course, last week beat the Scarlets very comfortably, winning that one 13 points to 43 at Parc y Scarlets, while Connacht suffered their second defeat of the season and losing against the Welsh region once again, this time losing against the Dragons 22 points to 35. Of course, as both teams have been in this competition for donkey's years, they faced each other twice last season. The first one was at the Sports Ground as Connacht lost at home 10 points to 16. When the reverse fixture, Munster won that one 20 points to 17 at Thomond Park. I've been massively impressed by Munster so far. Their ability to just have that physicality. They have the platform. They create the platform for themselves. And then they have the incredible backs such as Zebre, Carberry, Craig Casey at 9 to live wire to really create things. For Connacht, it just doesn't seem to be clicking at the minute. I'm not really sure what's going on for them. And it's going to be a really tough game for them, I feel. And I think there have been a lot of harsh words spoken at them throughout the week concerning their performance against the Dragons, where they just couldn't take advantage of the Dragons being down to 13 men at one point. But I am going to back Munster to get the win here. I think it's going to be a very comfortable win for Munster. But a derby throws up so many different things, so who knows? But what does Dan have to say?
Yeah, no, Munster all day long. They're just so strong. I mean, this could be Munster's year. Like if I was a Munster fan, I'd be very, very excited going into this campaign. Like, I fully expect them to make at least the semis this year. I think people I don't go Munster by 10, but I think they're going to have a lot more of the possession.
So there we go. Predictions all done for week 4 of the URC. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well, and get your predictions in the comments down below to see if you'll feature on the review show on Sunday night. Big shout out once again to Dan McFarlane for coming on. Really appreciate it, mate. Make sure to check out his Facebook page, a link in the description down below. Join it and have some great rugby chat. He'll be on the channel very soon ahead of Scotland's Autumn International. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rugby over the weekend, and I'll see you Sunday night for the review show. See you then.